What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 10, Discipline of Legacy. Got my boy Val came in tonight. He's super excited to have him here. We're first episode in the new studio, so I was anxious to get him in and hear his story and hear what he's got going on right now. And he's been somewhat of a pretty good friend. An acquaintance that I met has turned into a friend, and we've done some business together. And he's did a leadership study together and kind of created a little bond. And he's got a good heart. Val, tell us a little bit about your background of growing up and you know just go through your childhood and bring us to where you're at today.
Yeah, man. Unique story for sure. So born and raised in Siberia, Russia. Definitely something that I don't remember very much. It's very dear to my heart because I lost my father when I was 2 years old. He was, like many know, Russia is Soviet Union. You have to serve in the military as part of your duty. And my father passed in the war when I was just 2, so I never met the guy. My mom says I did, but I don't remember. Right, I was a baby. So I was raised by my grandparents and my uncle, who served as my parents. Along the lines of that, I had a really rough childhood health-wise. So my grandparents basically took their life after my father's death and gave it all for my life, right? So they took everything they had going in the big city. Novosibirsk, where I'm from, was the third largest city. And they sold everything. And they moved down to Black Sea, which is basically across the sea from Ukraine.
Okay.
And because it's like a California weather, I was a bronchitis, very sick baby. So I had to be in the warmth. I couldn't be in cold, right? So for majority of my life, I grew up with two of my grandparents and my uncle, and then who served as my parents at the time. My uncle unfortunately got in a world of trouble because after 91, Soviet Union fell and a lot of racketeering became the thing. So being the bad guy was a thing to be, right? So here I am growing up with the idol of me and my uncle who goes and gets in trouble. So he goes on a run, and he goes to Ukraine.
This is in 1991.
This is 90s, early 90s. So I'm still 6, 7 years old at the time, right? Little baby, little kid, not knowing what's going on in the world, just living the life, right? Grew up on the farm with my grandparents at the time, so it was really cool. I raised chickens, cows, pigs, slaughtered the animals, did all that stuff, right? So a lot of hands-on stuff. That's how I got into gardening. My grandpa said, hey, we're going to do this together, right? So my grandpa was 7'3", big guy.
Yeah.
It seems to be everybody in my family. It's a pretty big guy, including myself, right? And so here goes the scenario. My uncle goes on the run. He marries a woman in Ukraine and has a family. And as that comes around, all that backfired on the family. One day I remember clearly these really big Italian dude shows up at my house searching for my uncle. I guess the deal went bad. Something didn't work out. So here I am, scared for my life. This little kid in these 6-foot bodybuilding.
Russian mom.
Yeah, exactly, right? Showing up. And my grandpa's hiding my grandma and then all trying to be protective of me and all that stuff. And long story short is they found him, beat the shit out of him, dude. Like the guy was like in bloody mess, right? So
In front of you?
No, it didn't happen in front of me. But he came home. And so he turned himself in after that. So he went serve time in jail. I think he did prison time at the time because racketeering charges is pretty serious.
Yeah.
So he, being a car guy like myself, found his way how to work through jail, right? So he started being a mechanic for the police. So he got a little bit of a better treatment than the most, right? So here I am as a child growing up trying to look up to my grandparents, look up to my uncle, who in turn got into bad life and then got into prison. And then here I am trying to find my balance, right? And then my cousin gets in all sorts of trouble. So I'm trying to stay positive. So I got into basketball and I'm trying to really live my life not the way they did it, right? And I'm still a kid at the time, so I don't know what trouble looks like, right? And then obviously as you start getting older, bad influence kicks in, right? So we started sneaking alcohol, and in Russia, probably like most American countryside, you make your own moonshine and
It's
everything
vodka,
else.
though, there, right? You make your own vodka or
Moonshine and wine, right?
moonshine, whiskey.
So here we were, start smoking cigarettes, drinking, doing dumb shit, right? And I guess lucky for me, or unlucky for me, depending how you slice it.
Yeah.
My mom shows up, and I'm like, "Who is this woman?" Right? Kind of. And my grandparents like, "Well, that's your mom, right?" And she tells me like, "Hey, we're going to America." And the pre-sequel to that was
How
funny.
old are you at this point?
12.
Okay.
So funny part is that school we had a play, and there was a pop star that did a really popular song that she wanted to marry an American. I got to play the American in that skit. So here I am showing up to school a couple weeks later, telling everybody like, "Hey, I'm leaving and I'm going to America." And everyone's like, "Hey, you full of shit.
Yeah.
Right? We just did the skit, you tuned to character, right? All this good stuff." But reality, I was, right? And I didn't have a say in this. My grandparents didn't have a say in this because I guess the 90s left such a bad mark on the family. And my uncle being in prison, then my cousin ended up in prison after serving military. They thought I was going to go down the same slippery slope because obviously the people that are around us are the same type of people.
Become a product of your environment.
Exactly, right? So exactly the same thing. And then obviously you have that influence around you from your family that's easy to just be in a bad boy scenario.
But at this point, you're not with those then, right? You're in America?
No, not yet. This time, so this
So
is
you're still
just
in
announcing, right? So then, right about 13, after all the passports and all get settled, we got out, right? So we get to Moscow, get the plane, and we end up in Pasadena, California, and that's where we settled in. I was at the time 13 years old, turned 14 as we came in, and here I am, this Russian kid, never seen any adversity of any kind, right? Talking about Siberia, straight Russian, tall, blue-eyed, blonde people, right? Like only movies we saw was Western movies to see people of color.
Plus,
right?
you're tall too, so they think you're like going to be an NBA player.
Yeah, so I show up at high school in Pasadena, and LA is just diverse as all.
Oh, yeah.
And I speak lick of English.
None.
I knew maybe.
But you played the American guy.
I played the American, but it was a Russian song. Right? And so here I am in high school, in the probably the whitest town of LA.
Okay.
Small city, Pasadena. No Russians, nobody else there. Lucky for me, there was one Russian-speaking guy, Dmitry, and he was from like Belarus or whatnot. And so he kind of calls me over and said, "Hey, I was called to talk to you and kind of show you the ropes, walk you through the all-American ways." And so he kind of starts showing me around. And at that time, he was an exchange student for this wealthy American guy who had a manufacturing business. So he kind of took me under the wing. And not knowing my parents, I immediately drew myself to this house of this wealthy businessman because it gave me an opportunity to not just kind of find my way through the Russian upbringing here, but really dive into American way of life, right? So I start hanging out with him, start hanging out with Russian, and then I get into basketball, start playing basketball, so everything kind of start working out for me. I picked up English relatively fast at the age. So everything's
Younger age is easier to pick it up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then especially if you're in town where nobody speaks Russian,
Yeah.
and you hang out with more American-speaking people, and ESL was really good at the time. So I picked up the English really fast, and I ended up spending more time at that person's house than even at my parents' house. Fast forward about 6 months, me and my stepfather don't get along, right? So we fight. And I essentially have an altercation with him, and I leave the house. So here I am, 16-year-old kid in high school, moving out of my parents' house in California, literally 2 years after moving to America, right? Luckily for me, the businessman was a really good guy, had a good heart. He couldn't have his own children, but he had like 65 foster kids.
Okay.
So he said, "Hey, you know what? You can work for me. You know, we can figure it out. I'll give you a room, and we'll make it work."
So you went straight from 16 to go work for this guy.
Straight up, right after high school, we'd go down to factory, South Central Los Angeles, and right off Manchester and San Pedro. For those who know, that's where all that fun stuff used to happen. And I got into employment right away, so I got into manufacturing of metal furniture for casinos and stuff like that. And so early on in my career, I got into manufacturing, and with that, as you can imagine, money starts coming in. Well, here I am, a 16-year-old kid with a job in high school. I have a car, I have a place to stay. And that's when trouble started kicking in, right? So I started hanging out with all the fun kids, the basketball team, and all not so fun kids. And then, long story short, is they put me in jail. Put me in jail for some severe charges over something I did not do. I got accused of things. And I got arrested right out of high school.
Wow.
So I was out on the smoke break. Again, not the smartest thing in the world, right? But and all of a sudden, my security guy, hey Val, no one see you in the principal's office. I was like, I didn't give a shit for smoking again, probably, right? Because I'm a basketball player. Next thing you know, I walk in the door, they locked my elbows in, threw me on the floor, arrested me, took me in. Nobody told me a damn thing.
Wow.
Just it was a local precinct man hanging out. Then they told me the charges, and unfortunately, my ex-girlfriend had some fun activities with somebody, and they were adults, and she was not. All the fingers were pointing at me, and they got a deal, and they decided to book me in. Right? Nobody knew what happened to me, man. I just disappeared. My parents got the call, obviously, right? Call and all that, and luckily for me, my mom found a really good attorney that threw everybody a lie detector test. So after sitting around, I don't know, 3-4 months in juvenile hall, they released me with no charges because they basically found out what happened.
Right.
And I had the alibi and everything. They just didn't want to buy me. I was in adult school at the time, trying to get all my classes finished because of my work, right? So I was skipping a lot of classes. So they went there and they're like, hey, he was here at the time. We have attendance stamps. There's a teacher. So long story short is that the charges that was under got me released. And one of the things the judge told me was, if I see you here again, you will see Leah. Like, wow. And I think that changed a lot in my head. A lot. So I changed my phone number. Disappeared from everybody. Stopped hanging out with people I knew. Got an apartment. I asked my friend's brother to co-sign for an apartment because I was not 18 yet. And I got my own apartment in a small city of Arcadia. And in that city, I met my girlfriend at the time. And so at that time, I just literally dove in my career, work, education, and relationship, right? I wanted to stay away from all the trouble.
Yeah.
And that paved a good way. So I left the manufacturing business because it was kind of going under. I don't know if you remember 2004. China was kind of taking over heavily, so a lot of furniture factories closed down.
Okay.
So I got into a startup of security manufacturing cameras. It's funny how cameras came such a long way these days, because when we started doing this, they were not this high quality stuff. They couldn't go live, right?
Same thing with like backup cameras on cars. I noticed that the other day. Like, I could see like the pennies on the ground behind the car before it's like a foggy,
And man, from there on out, I learned business. So I went, graduated my bachelor's degree, my master's degree back to back. So full-time work, school at night.
Nice.
And at that time, I was top of my classes at work. I went from a technician to a lead to a supervisor to a manager to an operations manager of that company in 9 years. Wow. So, and I really wanted to progress my life. And in the startup world, they kind of make it to the point where revenue is high enough to sell, so they don't really progress many more people.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to do something bigger, better in my life. And in Los Angeles, everybody who was in manufacturing aspired to be in aerospace, right? Because it's a great industry. So I set out on the mission that was probably the most impossible mission. A kid from Russia,
right,
with serving time, I wanted to work at SpaceX. I didn't have a fancy degree. I went to University of Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have all the cool credentials, but I had the goal.
Yeah.
And I was coming out of this small startup, and nobody knew about them, right? They're just a company. I mean, we went from zero to $250 million annual revenue. So
nice.
It was a big business, but not big enough for somebody like SpaceX directly.
Right.
So I have applied to 175 jobs, and I interviewed 116 of those times. So
wow.
I didn't accept a single offer because I just wanted to learn how to interview.
Okay.
Along the process, I've asked feedback for every single interview, and I mastered how to write a resume. I mastered how to interview.
Yeah.
And when the time mattered the most, after 3 years of trying to get into SpaceX, I remember this day like it was yesterday. I was with my current wife. We weren't married at the time, but we were living together. Or maybe we were married. Either. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I got my citizenship. And that was a very long time because of the criminal record, so they had to go through all of that. So I was at my inauguration getting my documentation to be a neutralized citizen. You couldn't bring your phone or anything, so my phone was in my car and everything else. So I come out from the citizenship application office, and I got my document, fired my phone out of voicemail. I got the job in SpaceX.
Wow.
So I remember that day.
The same
day, man. And that was probably like the highlight of my day. And, SpaceX praises people with high degrees, high degree, right, the whole 9 yards. And here I was, a nobody from Siberia, right, set out with aspiration and a goal. But I didn't just achieve that goal by hoping it would happen.
Right.
Like, I met people, I spoke to people, I understood what they need to happen, and I practiced to be better, right? So when people say it's not possible, everything is possible.
That's awesome, man.
And then unfortunately that was short-lived, and I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, because that was probably the best.
So you did take the job with SpaceX?
Yes, I did take the job
what was the actual position? And
so I was a manager of what's called an avionics manufacturing. So my background is primarily electronics manufacturing.
Okay.
So that's what I started with: PCB boards, lenses, cameras, a lot of telemetry, Rio, stuff like that does connection, connectivity, communication, stuff like that. So that was very short-lived, because 9 months in, my wife gets pregnant with her first child.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, you probably, like many people, not know LA, but it takes about 2.5 hours to get 25 miles.
It's like Miami.
The traffic's terrible, right? And so I knew that I couldn't do this. I would never see my family, because I'd leave at 5, come back at 9, right? So I basically went and got a job closer, but remained in aerospace, and just kind of climbed the ladder across the board. My wife and I had 2 daughters, and I decided to continue to be better. I needed to be better at getting another degree. So I went out for my second master's and applied to Michigan State. And I had a lot of my bosses wrote me a positive recommendation letter. So I got in, and Michigan State is the best institution for supply chain in aerospace. Highly recognized.
Okay.
So I knew that I had to do the best school there was, right?
Yeah.
Although I'm a Trojan at heart, right? I'm from LA. I love that school.
Yeah.
Always wanted to go to USC. Beautiful campus, but they were not even top 10 in the industry.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't even worth it for me, right? So along the lines of that, I graduated.
So that was mobile, or you went there?
Sorry, it was
you took the family and went to Michigan?
No. It's remote with 6 times a year visit. So I had to fly out for like a very heavy scheduled Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I kind of identified it. I went to University of Florida. Most of it was remote for fire and EMS, and just for exams that I had to go to the campus.
Yeah, so I flew out to Michigan about 6 times a year to do my program, and graduated. And right along the graduation time, COVID was happening. I graduated December 2019. And COVID hit January, and our life kind of took a really massive turn, because at the time I was working for the small company called Wavestream. We're manufacturing a lot of amplifiers for satellites and military equipment. And we had a house that we're going to buy in the cul-de-sac, 2-story dream home, right? For kids, perfect, and tucked away in a nice neighborhood. And COVID hit, and we basically had to pull out of that mortgage, because our book of business started declining on the business. So I started writing on the wall. And I took a job with Amazon, which was completely out of the scope of my knowledge at all. But it was my first general manager job. I got my own building to manage, which I was managing pretty much everything but the whole building. And that led me to a progression of moving to Florida. So I relocated to Florida in 2021, February, as a promotion to run South Florida region. So my wife and I flew in COVID, drove from Miami to Orlando, kind of finding a home, where to find a home, and we landed in Port St. Lucie, because I found out which region I was going to take over. So unfortunately, I realized that Amazon is not what I wanted to do for a career, man.
That's crazy, though. Like, even, from furniture manufacturing to
SpaceX rockets.
I mean, I can identify with that myself, too, because I went to school to be a firefighter, paramedic. Like, everybody, you get this thing like built inside of you that, like, to follow what the world wants you to follow, which is go to college, get a degree, go do this career that you're going to do the rest of your life with the degree that you got. And it's like, but you don't have to do that.
No.
And
I'm a living proof that
with a disciplined mind and goals set. It's like, so what? Just because I was a firefighter and on paper doesn't mean I want to do that the rest of my life. Like for me, the politics, it was more like a prison sentence to me than a career because of the, dealing with the union, fighting with the municipality, and it's like,
yeah, man.
So
it's all politics.
Yeah, and that's,
but
the bounce around part to where like, you got an awesome story. I didn't even know anything about it.
But you brought something that's really valid is discipline, right? I think the goal was family, right? So
yeah, it sounds like it.
It didn't, as much as I wanted the SpaceX job, I've always wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
And when my wife told me she was pregnant, I was the stupidest person. If you were to see me at that table, I was at lunch when I got the news. I was sitting at the table at SpaceX, and if you ever seen SpaceX launches, they got the Dragon hanging, and they got the lunchroom behind it, and Elon's got a table. So I was sitting about 2 tables away from Elon. He eats lunch usually. He eats with everybody. He talks to people. And I had this dumbest grin on my face because I found out I became the father, right? And this is where this tattoo came from, right? This is all my family, family tree that I designed. So it's my wife, myself, my first, my second, my third born, DNA for our tree, and that's my time of.
You don't got any more coming, do you?
Kids, no.
No.
I took care of that after.
What about grandkids? My wife was like,
I got
there you go.
Right here.
My wife said the same thing. She's like, I want to put the grandbabies here, and then next thing you know, there's 2 more on the way. I'm like,
yeah, I got preservation of the space right here.
You still got some room.
Yeah, I left that for that.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, it was goals, right? So, going from, my wife had a successful career. She worked for Subway, corporate, so she was overseeing all of the businesses in Los Angeles. And I was at SpaceX. We had a great career. We traveled all the time. But as soon as she told me she was pregnant, life changed, goals changed.
Yeah.
We decided that LA was not the place for us to raise our kids. We're just too crazy for everything. The laws, the politics, the people, the whole dynamic of a rat race, right? Kind of like me, you're a crazy place to raise a family. And so an opportunity came up to move to Florida. And that's why I tell people, you said discipline is right. If you have the heart and the goals in the right place, you don't have to follow a script, and you can make your own script.
What would you say, I mean, just not to cut you off here, but what would you say, like, through that time period? Because I know from my own experience that, like, it's hard to just cut people off from your life. Like, obviously, you said you had that time period where you were, you got in trouble. You're like, I don't want this for my life. I just, change your phone number. Like, what goes through your mind in that particular? Because it takes time for you to, like, to discipline yourself to be like, all right, I'm not going to party. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. What do you think was your driving force at that particular time?
My mother.
Mom.
Yeah.
Okay. She kept you on track.
So even though that me and my stepfather never got along, we're great friends now.
Right.
Fantastic relationship now, right? That will not to say a bad word about the man. And he had his own trouble, right? Being raised in Soviet Union and all that stuff. So not being my natural father, obviously, some other challenges, right? But I would say is that she understood why I left, but she was the one that was there for me for all of the dumbest things in the States.
Yeah.
And so a couple of times watching my mom cry and everything else kind of was always been that, hey, you got to get your shit together, right?
Yeah.
Your uncle already
also
created
see
problems.
the sacrifice that they, that
came to America.
obviously,
right?
like I don't understand it because my family isn't immigrants. Like my family worked hard. My mom and dad worked hard, but like my wife is an immigrant, and like to see firsthand, like for us just waking up in the morning as American citizens is like is more than a dream for most of the world.
Can never imagine.
And to see the hunger and the drive from, I know a lot of immigrants and most of them are better people than most Americans, and I know not better people, but just have more hunger, have more work ethic, have a higher drive to do better, and I see that too because even growing up, like I had first generation, second generation immigrant families of kids that I grew up with, and their parents just wanted the best for them, so it makes sense, and to harness that energy and turn it to what you turned it into is powerful, man. But yeah,
she would come over to my apartment and clean up my apartment while I was at work. I'd come home and she'll be there cooking me dinner, and I'm like, Mom, I'm perfectly fine. But mom's love is mom's love, right? And seeing, and my mom's not your type. If it's hard for me to see relationships of really close families because I'm not raised that way.
Right.
So me and my mom can go and not talk for weeks, right? But it's still that bond behind the scenes that obviously like any family will have, that they want to do what's best for their kids. She would show her love through care. And not so much of emotional care and lovey-dovey care, but more like, is he good?
Yeah.
Because she got me out of jail. She got all the funding and all that stuff for lawyers, right? So she did all that, and she worked through all of that financially because my stepfather wasn't having any of it, right?
Yeah.
So when all that started happening, I think that was the biggest drive to see, like, hey, my uncle messed up. My cousin messed up. And here I am making same dang mistakes on the other side of the globe, right? So once, and I think a lot of people would like to say is, I wish I had that opportunity. So when the judge gave me that opportunity, I made commitment to myself first and foremost. Yeah. And it's funny because my PO's name was Mr. Guy. And when I graduated my bachelor's degree, my college campus was right across from the street from the courthouse. So I walked into the probation office, and I was like, "Can I see Mr. Guy?" He's like, "Is he your PO?" I was like, "No." Well, why are you here?
Not anymore.
I was like, he was such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't your PO that would just ride you for things, right? He knew I got caught up in the wrong place and wrong crap, right? And so he used to let me go out with house arrest, and he would come with me to the movies. Like, he was a super chill dude, right?
Yeah. Mr. Guy is hopefully the statute of limitations. You won't get in trouble.
He's retired a long time ago. I'm not sure if he's even alive anymore. if that, but
not your typical probation officer.
Not typical.
And he saw value. He saw you were a good person. You had a good heart.
And then him and I had a very similar conversations. Right, he knew about what I was doing with my life before the event took place. Right.
Okay.
And so when I went and showed him that I graduated a degree and here I am doing better things in my life, it was he almost shed a tear. Said like, "Val, nobody comes sees me after I'm done. I'm like a blessing if I'm not on your file anymore."
Yeah.
I said, I don't forget people. That's the thing about me. It's funny because I relate heavily to Toretto and Fast and Furious, right? To me,
you guys are just different heights.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right.
But my wife likes Vin Diesel. I'm like, he's like 4'8", right? Like, he has to stand on tippy toes when he's next to the Rock. I never knew.
It's all vision, right?
It looks good on TV. They did well.
Yeah, they know what to do, right? Yeah. But to me, I think that's the values that I was always put into is, I've learned how to cut people off out of my life, but those who were there with the journey with no malice,
the real ones,
they're always been somebody I never forget, right? And I always take people with me, and I'll use Alex Crash as an example, right? He's a good friend of mine, and I met him a long time ago, and along with many people, I'd say Crash is the person that I can work with and turn around and do business with in the same sentence. And we both know when the difference is. So I like to make sure that people that I'm loyal to, I always take along with you. When I eat, everybody eats kind of thing, right?
I like it.
And so I always position myself that way. And again, don't get me wrong, I'll cut people off as fast as a slice of bread, right? But if you are there and, we're working through things together, I'm not saying it's easy, right? It's never easy.
No.
But if there is a way of people saying, like, hey, listen, you fucked up, I fucked up, let's figure out or move forward out of this, we're good, right?
That's life, yeah.
So Mr. Guy was that guy for me. So there's been these folks along through my life who believed in me, right? Mm-hmm. Believed in me as a person, believed in me as an individual. Let's just say, like, my wife as a husband and the father of the children. One of the senior leaders in the company I work for in LA believed in me and gave me a chance to grow my career. Took me out of the wing and coached me to who I am today, right? So I keep friends and have really good conversations with those people on a regular basis. And I would say that a lot of people get too carried away to even wish people Merry Christmases and stuff. Like, I actually make sure that I reach out to people that could be on the opposite side of the globe to say hello and just not make sure that we don't forget because it's, we just get carried away busy.
I noticed that I'm always that guy, but I noticed that, this year was just different. I didn't have, my son was at his mother's house for most of the day. He broke his arm on Thanksgiving. So, like, I didn't get to see him much until like the day after Christmas, so he wasn't there on Christmas. My stepson, who's my wife's oldest son, Carlos, he got picked up by ICE.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just been in custody now like 3 months, so he wasn't there, and his daughter and his wife, pregnant wife, are staying with us. So you just have like those moments where you're like, yeah, and then like
yeah, for sure.
So this year was a little weird for me. I wasn't really texting everybody,
And
and
the 25 was a
great year, don't get me wrong, but you just get take those moments and still notice it, like, hey, this is you got to experience, talk about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, listen, we know this is going to be a sucky year. I told the same thing to my son. He broke his arm twice in the same year.
same
Like,
arm?
you're gonna different arms. Okay, with the electric bicycle, and I'm like, bro, like you are gonna 2025 is not your year. And then he's like, he went shopping. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get these skateboard shoes. I was like, whoa. You and something with wheels are not good, brother. Like, we just
You guys don't
you
get
can get
along.
the shoes, but we're not going to get in the skateboard.
Yeah,
like,
you don't get along with the shoes. For
yeah.
sure.
But I'm that guy too, and this year it was a weird year, and to be able to notice that and acknowledge it with everybody in the family was, a power. My sister being gone, she passed away well, this is the second Christmas she's been gone, but she passed away last October.
Sorry to hear that.
So, that was, her kids and everything. We all used to kind of hang out and talk, and it's just, you still got to remember those people. You still got to,
Yeah.
and the holidays are that for a lot of folks. It's missing people, missing your family.
Absolutely.
But like I said, man, but for us to be able to voice it and say, hey, this is why we feel this way this year, and we got through it.
Well, 25 was a really good year for me. I think I shared some of that with you because I finally accepted fate this year.
Yeah.
Last year, that is. And so just to finish, and I'll get back to this,
Go
just
ahead.
to finish the story. So the strength was, again, my mother, right? A lot of just seeing what she's done for me, seeing what I was doing to her emotionally. But I mean, doing dumb things with my life instead of saying I have a really good opportunity here, I have a shot at something, right? And things were just working out. So, fast forward to, obviously life in Florida, everything was going really well with Amazon, and just knew the heart wasn't in it, and you just know when it's not it,
Yeah.
right? And along all this journey, I've been a car guy through and through since I was a kid. I was where I rebuilt my
That's
first
how I met
engine
you.
with my grandparents and all that. So I was looking to leave Amazon to get back into aerospace, and Florida isn't exactly the biggest aerospace hub besides Melbourne and everything else. But it's at the time of 2022 when I was making that move, it was going through like the COVID funk, and there was not a whole lot of hiring going on because everybody was working remote and all of that kind of transitioning back into regular way of life per se was
Yeah.
happening. And that's how I met David Lloyd at Shift Culture and all that. So I actually applied to his job on the other side of the shop, which is his two-way business.
Okay.
And I got hired into his business to run his operations for him. And one day I wandered in the back of the shop, saw the lifts, saw the commerce, and I'm like, what's going on here?
What is this all about?
And
And they didn't give you the tour when you did the interview, or?
He didn't give me the tour of the back, no.
Just
Just
the
the front.
front, hire you and then trick you and shit.
Yeah,
It's all about
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then
So I guess that way it didn't influence your decision to want to go there or not go there. So,
I think it would have been icing on the cake if I known that was in the back.
well, it was icing on the cake finding out later.
It was a good icing on the cake,
Yeah.
without a doubt. And then I found out that he had a really good vision behind it, right? So initially,
100%.
David's idea was to host shop nights for kids who didn't have access to tools and lifts and stuff like that. So,
100%.
and then we just start kind of growing the whole show culture thing with the events. I'm sure you remember the events
Yeah.
at Fort Pierce and all that. And everything was phenomenal until obviously the cost of living in Florida started catching up again. And, we had to figure out what to do with 3 kids growing. I'm like, all right, it was a good run and all that, but I got to get back to my
Time to move on. to the next step.
stabilize
Yeah.
back to myself, to the career and everywhere I'm, things that I know best. And I left Dave, almost 2 years ago now, and went back. So I went work for Boeing, and that's where kind of that story to faith phases in, right?
Okay.
So came into 2025 And again, you know when you get excited about career, things are going well, but then something's missing.
Yep.
So the car life, the hobby, I found myself being a corporate guy because I was a global leader. I didn't have time for me, so I started gaining weight. I didn't have time for myself. I would leave again at 5 a.m., come back at 9 p.m., just the kind of SpaceX life, right? Because I used to drive to Miami every day from Sports and Lucy. And I just started realize that I don't see my family. I don't see my kids. Yes, financially we're well off and doing everything well. I give them all the...
That's a powerful, trait to have, though, I think, because I think as men we're taught that, like, hey, as long as we're bringing in the money, like, all the rest of it's dealt with, right? And the fact that you take that as a value of yours from real early on is keeping family first and being able to identify that, hey, maybe I need to take a step back here and change things up a bit. And even going as much as to changing careers, like that just goes to show you right there. And it's true, like even in life, sometimes as leaders of our household and as men, we gotta sometimes maybe change our career to keep our family in order. That's one of the hardest things I think as a man you can do is have a monogamous relationship with a wife and raise kids and like, the fact that, you keep that high on your priority list is pretty awesome.
And it's and that's a really big thing because the wife and I went through an episode, right? We went through therapy, and it was probably one of the best things. And I tell everybody who's listening, don't fall for the track of I'm too big and bad for therapy. No. Absolutely, no, you're not. No was I, and nobody else is, because you need that outlet that you just speak, and you just hit something right in the head. We as men are taught from that century, shut up, suppress your emotions, don't cry about it, don't talk about it, and we would grow up these providers, but we're emotionally suppressed, right? So my wife was a stay-at-home mom. There she is, 2 kids, husband's always at work, right? Financially, we're good.
Yeah.
But no help, right?
100%.
So we went through that episode, and we learned and relearned how to be a married couple again, and that's all segues into the idea of Christ Fellowship, because my wife's story is unique in its own, and without getting into a lot of details, I essentially asked my wife to marry me so she can become a citizen because she was being exploited by an employer with Daniel and the green card in front of her face. So she couldn't leave to go see her father for many years. So she hasn't seen him in 15 years. Mm-hmm. So last year for her birthday, I said, hey, why don't you go? Yeah. Go fly there. Our kids are old enough. I'll work from home. Yeah. And at the time, I had this weird realization. She found Jesus and started going to church heavily by herself.
Really? Here. The church fellowship?
Yeah, she started at the
Sunlight. Okay.
We took our middle child there for a VPK. Mm-hmm. And so she did that. And then she ended up getting baptized here, or re-baptized, let's just say. Right. And she found Christ Fellowship. And she was like, hey, you gotta come, it's different. And why it's different is because I'm baptized as Orthodox Christian. So it's a different church. And I saw the ins and outs of that church because my mom's heavily involved in that. Yes. And I got really turned off by that church. So I pushed the whole idea of Christ and church and religion away because I saw the dirty back end because my mom was running. Yeah. So you see the back end, not so much the front end. That's the religion aspect of it. I think that a lot of folks get that misconstrued now. And I kind of, fortunately for me, like I wasn't ever brought up in religion. I was just, like I believed in God. I was baptized Catholic as a baby, but never went to church. So when I got older, it was like new for me. But religion was created to divide people. Obviously, there's all these different things that really mean the same thing if you look at it. Yeah. And but it's a spiritual relationship with God is all it is. Spiritual relationship, whatever. If you want to praise Buddha, then Buddha, you're spiritual. You're lighting incense. It's a spiritual connection. And so that's what I like to tell people today, because they talk to me like, oh, you're this big Christian guy. I'm like, I am, but it's not, like I mess up. Like I'm not perfect. Like just because we all do, right? Like I'm not this, this portrayal of like perfectness at like a Catholic church where they're all standing there like this and you can't talk and it's just like, that's no, like God says, come as you are. Like you can come to Christ Fellowship in shorts and flip flops. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to you.
you know. And it's like as long as you're praising and worshiping God, and that, I mean that's I tell people I like to go there just for the praise and worship because that's my connection with Him weekly. You know, like I still do Bible study, I still talk to Him on a daily basis, but praise and worship there is just something that touches me and helps me recharge my batteries for the week.
Yeah, 100%. So I start going my life on Sundays.
Awesome.
So I started slowly getting into it, let her talk. She can turn on some YouTube videos. Then we watched the not Passion of Christ, but Chosen, a couple episodes. So I started kind of listening to her and how she speaks about it and showing, you know, all the good things that, you know, it also balanced her out as a person. I started seeing change in her. But what I really particularly liked about Christ Fellowship is the kids use. They give us a date night,
100%,
which is phenomenal, right? Every Wednesday we drop off the kids and we have a night out, which is great, gives us our time.
Well, they're actually pouring into the kids there too. I mean, that's the, you know, if they say show you a church that's not pouring into the next generation, to show you a dying church. So.
Yep. So all of that start happening. So I start coming understanding and hey, this, and I can tell you when the moment it hit me, when I knew that this was the moment of my Holy Spirit, was I was at home and there was a promotion on the table at Boeing. The promotion entailed relocation to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, there's no way. We're not moving to Seattle. I don't want to live in Seattle. And when you live in the corporate world, they say you don't understand that these promotions don't come around. If you decline it, you're the bottom of the total pole. And I said, peace, so be it. But I'm not leaving my family. Right?
Yeah.
Nor I'm going to be against the grain, put my family in depressing state of Washington, right?
Is that like the rainy, what's the name of that place? Like the Windy City or something like that?
I don't know. It's depressing.
But it's rainy.
For lack of better words.
Yeah.
And
cold.
So that week specifically is when my wife flew out to see her father. So here I am learning and appreciate my wife even more because I'm at that point a single father.
Mm-hmm.
Full-time job, dressing up the kids, taking them to school, lunches, laundry, all of that, right?
I didn't even know how to turn my washing machine on. Right? I had to call some watching YouTube videos.
And then, you know, and L3 is my current employer where I work at now, which is back into like communication, electronics, and all that. Is something that I've been actively pursuing as well. But at the time, I didn't have an application in. I just really declined the promotion at Boeing, and I'm like, nope. And my mom is losing her barrel. She's like, what the hell? Do you understand the name?
Yeah.
And go back to your conversation saying you get a career stabilized and you stay. For somebody like a Russian immigrant with a career at Boeing is like, holy crap.
Right.
And I'm like, Mom, it's just a name. It's a company. Like, it doesn't matter, right? If it doesn't meet my goals, it doesn't support what I'm trying to do as a person in my family, I don't care the name. It could be the government himself, right?
Yeah.
And so here I am sitting at home, kind of like, all right, what's my next path? Like always, I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Quiet time, wife's gone.
Kids are in bed. I'm in my office at home.
You got the promotion on the table, and it's just you and the man upstairs.
Yeah. Well, I declined the promotion at the time already, so I already know.
Okay.
I'm like, and so I'm sitting there, and you know, I'm kind of doing my thing and talking through it and voicing things, and I'm like, all right, well, like everything else, I've always figured it out. I'll figure it out. It might be a setback. It might be a little bit more commute down to Miami, but we'll make it work. And next thing you know, next morning you get this random phone call out of Rochester, New York, and I don't pick up number that I know. And this lady leaves me a phone number, like, hey, I saw your resume in my system. Give me a call. And I give a call, and it's the senior director of communications segment for L3. It's like, hey, I got your resume here. I think you'd be a great fit for one of the roles that I'm hiring for.
Wow.
Are you interested? I was like, yeah.
And you didn't apply there?
No, not for that role, no.
Okay.
I applied for something some months ago, completely opposite role in Melbourne. It was not a Rochester role, right? And so here I am sitting in the morning before my meetings, and I can't believe what conversation I just had with this person. So they fast-tracked me in 2 weeks. I get an offer. So my wife comes back, and I give her the good news. I'm like, listen, I just got a job here in Florida.
Wow.
It'll be global, but I'm not moving anymore.
So it's here in Melbourne?
Yeah, the headquarters are in Melbourne,
Okay.
so my office is there, right? And so that was that moment for me when I knew that when your heart's in the right place, you're doing things for the right reason, and you're not doing it because you care for the cloud, for the name, for the money. You're doing it for the things that it's like your path is meant to be.
100%.
And that was the moment. And ever since then, the only time when we skip church is like today. We went to Cars and Coffee.
Right.
Every Sunday, unless I'm traveling, I'm there. And I found a really good way for me is that on my drives to work and back is when I have those conversations.
Nice.
I turn everything off and I have that hour drive. That's me and
Looking at the sun, watching this,
watching the sunrise, and that's my time. And I'm telling you, man, I shit you not. Ever since that happened, my life's been up and up. My relationship with my wife is phenomenal. I'm still working on a relationship with my kids because I'm trying to transition to be less corporate and more a dad. Right?
Okay.
And that's not something that's easy for somebody like me. And we have a running joke in my family. My wife always says, turn your director off, right? Because when you run a team of people, you need things done. It's not, hey, watch yourself, right? Hey, I need to go get this done because we got to get this done. Right?
Yeah.
It's not really...
You got to be here by...
Right.
So, guys, you got to shower, eat. Yeah.
You know, you run your own team, so you know how that is. And so that still is an opportunity, but I can tell you it's been a blessing for the last 6 months being with the company I'm at today. I'm back in the gym. I'm up at 5, which is great. I come back, I can have breakfast with my kids.
Yeah.
I see them in the morning. I get home before they go to bed. We have dinner together. It became just an opportunity to be present.
Yeah.
And still do what I like to do for a career and have time for me in a hobby, which is how kind of like how this came to be, right?
100%.
And, I just feel like, everything they say and they preach that things come to you when you're ready, you can take on more, handle more, when you're entrusted with more.
Yeah.
To test you if you can handle more, right? And I think that moment last May, May, is when that next chapter opened.
Yeah.
Right? And super, super blessed for that. Couldn't be more happier. And then obviously we went through the, the Bible studies and leadership classes together on that shift culture, which is Dave and I.
It was more nailing the coffin there for you for just opening up the door for being a new man in faith.
So being able to be in a crowd of safe spaces while kind of share that and say, hey, and I'm one of the people who will tell you, if I don't know, I don't know. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But being able to voice things I don't know and start realizing how many people are just really there to support and say, hey, no problem. Just as much as you want to know, we're here to help.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and take it away from you or belittle you because you don't know, right? Like, let's talk through this. And it's just been more and more, and I know I got to do more, right? Like I do know that there's a lot more to go to be more in tune with my spiritual life, right? Coming from
but the reality
to where I am today is different.
There's no destination. There's no like it's not like for a guy 2 masters that's important or that's impressive, but there's no master's degree at the end of it. There's no destination. There's no certificate. Like there's you and God standing face to face at the end, and Him saying, "Yes, you're coming to heaven," and that time in between that is just being the best person that you can be, man.
And that's what I hope that
and being able to pour that into your legacy, right? Your kids,
right.
Being able to pour that in and be that positive leader at home for your wife, your kids, the dog.
Yeah.
For your mom being able to see that in you.
Yeah. My mom and dad are proud. They have beautiful.
Tell them it's not orthodox, but they can come check out Christ Fellowship and Sunlight too. It's still.
I think my mom is just happy that we found God and found a way to be connected to it, right? And again, as I said, that I may not be the most Christian person that you meet, right? But again, I've accepted, Jesus is my Savior. I know the journey that I'm on now. And again, I know that my heart is the right place. I know that I made all the right moves with all the right things in mind. And again, being able to have this balance, it got me into what I'm doing today, which is the wheels, right? And my background in operations, supply chain, and onboarding suppliers is kind of like, well, what am I doing, right? Like, I need to start thinking about something further and bigger for my kids than just an employment hope that they can follow suit, right? Because who knows what the future will hold, right? And I was like, well, I have all this experience. Why don't I put my own knowledge in my own head, something that's beneficial for me?
Yeah.
While I have beautiful career and opportunity, let me slowly start building this business on the back end and turn in my family into it and my kids into it. And, you know, when I got all my shirts and all that stuff, my whole family was all folding and stuff.
Awesome.
You know, they're all excited about pictures of the events that I've been to. So it's been an interesting journey, man.
So that we're gonna transition into that now too. Like awesome story. You know,
Yeah, man.
I feel like I didn't even know you at all until now.
I'm very private.
Yeah,
To be fair, like I don't go voice things out to people. That especially if opportunity didn't come up, I'm not gonna go encroach in private spaces. But two, there's people who genuinely want to know.
Yeah.
And there's people who just like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I choose wisely who I open up to and speak to.
Yeah, but even, you know, a lot of people think that being private is what they're supposed to do too, but like who knows what kind of impact you sharing your story can be for somebody hearing it, you know? And that's the part that I why I do what I do, you know what I mean? Is it's not because I want to have like likes or it's the folks that are saying, you saved my life. You helped me get out of this hole that I was in. Your story was impacted me in a positive way. So you sharing what you shared today, you know, who knows how many people it's going to help.
Yeah. Again, man, I think that's something that's important, right? Because again, as I said, being an immigrant from the country that's hated by America naturally, right? Being able to come in and build something that I've built is just a testament that with enough dedication, discipline, and the right mindset, obviously have people along the way to help you, right? Because you don't get there by yourself, right? You can be determined and show up every day, but there's always going to be somebody.
That's the key, though, right? The Mr. Guys of our life, right?
That's
correct. And I think that separating that, because as men, we want to have that ego and be like, look what I did. You know, I did this, and you know that's always been a downfall for me. But recognizing and giving, you know, that kudos, so to speak, to those people that helped us in our life, because it's a we thing, man. That's what I'm realizing even now. It's like I can't do anything in my life without the puzzle pieces of the people around me coming together to make it all happen.
100%, man. 100%.
So let's talk about foreign concepts. So Val he's started making wheels.
Yep.
I've got some wheels made actually, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yep.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Yeah, man. They're coming in. I'm working from home, so that way I get them as soon as they get in.
I'll be there to pick them up. You tell me where to go.
I will call you as soon as they get in.
So he's go ahead. Let's share a little bit about foreign concepts.
So
that's your legacy, right?
Yes,
so
that's what I want to leave for the kids, right? So fun story with the name.
Yeah.
Without getting into crazy details and long stories, I used to rap. I used to have 2 albums out from early 20s.
I'm gonna look it up. Is it on YouTube?
No, it's all taken down. There are songs on SoundCloud, but I can play for you. I have plenty.
Okay.
So my nickname was Foreign Rhythm, right?
All right.
And so that nickname's been with me for.
Is it like Russian rap or is it?
No, it's almost American. Yeah, okay. Flat out, and it's expressing a lot of the things that I lived through in the times.
Okay.
And I think that helped me a lot too through
being creative.
I was able to
100%.
put that negativity into music instead of being out doing dumb things, right? And so Foreign Rhythm was the name that somebody said one day to me. They're like, hey man, like being foreign and being able to rap in English and actually make sense doing it, that is some foreign rhythm shit, man.
Yeah.
And ever since then, that became my nickname. And so when I was kind of toying idea what I want my business to be called, I was like, hey, I got the concept. And since I don't do any hip hop anymore, I was like, well, foreign and the concept kind of works together very well. Mm-hmm. So the name came together from those from that time and utilizing the idea of a concept, and I named it with the K because C was not available. So it became the name, and I just got back into cars after taking the break with Boeing and all that stuff, and start shopping around for wheels and stuff, realizing, man, I'm hanging up the yin-yang for these parts, and I'm like, I don't do that in my regular job. What am I doing here? Right? And then one thing led to another, utilized some of my connections, flexed on some of the opportunities, called a couple of people, and next thing I know, I got linked up with the factory, made some of the made some connections, made some contracts. Ordered the first set of wheels for my car just to test them out. Same thing with my brakes and everything else. I'm not the type of be hypocrite who will sell stuff but don't use my own product. Right. So obviously tested everything myself, got everything certified, asked all the certificates to be sent to me. I validate all certification numbers, make sure that certifications are accurate, that, all the claims that they made about legitimacy of the product they produce is legitimate. Used my experience and connections to the government and all the, portals that I have access to. Everything checked out, so processed the first order, and it's been a blessing since, man. Launched in July. Obviously, we have your wheels. I mean, I had an opportunity to work with police officers currently on duty to design some one-off wheels. I'm sure you've seen the posted today. So those wheels are coming for them. So, and going back to that legacy piece, right? I really enjoy the fact that I get to educate people through the process, because the more I realize, the more people don't know anything about the wheels. They hear the facade.
I always just bought them. Put them on,
but that's the thing. There's so much to it than just wheels. Well,
I bought a set for my wife's last year, the AT4 and the GMC. I got some 24-inch snowflakes from a place over in Plant City, and it was a good deal. I found them on Facebook. Like, I don't even remember the name of the place, but I drove over there, had them put on, and just driving down 95, like hitting the bump in the road, like cracked the inside of the wheel. And then, obviously I took him to a local guy here, Tony, at Auto Experience, and he happened to have the same wheels in stock, but it was like a different manufacturer. He's like, those are cheap. But I never knew there was like a difference in material. And it was aluminum, but just hitting a bump, you shouldn't be cracking them. It wasn't like cracked where the tire blew out, but it was like a slow leak, pinhole leak. Yeah. But it happened to two wheels out of the 4 that I bought from that company over there, buying them cheap. Yeah. And that I don't want to buy cheap stuff anymore.
100%. And those are the things that you start learning, and I find a lot of excitement of being able to share with people the knowledge and walk them through what they're looking for and ask the end goals and what the desires are. Because a lot of people reach out like, "What is the price on wheels?" Well, it's not as simple as what is the price on wheels, right? What are you looking for? What's the outcome of your build? Is it performance? Is it appearance? Is it this? What size are you looking for? So, it's been great, because it's not that I'm also educating somebody. I'm educating myself in the process, right? Because I'm in forums, I'm reading, I'm speaking to people, I'm formulating a lot of networks by doing so. Even just get into forums of, Ford ST forums that I never had reasons to get into, and then you start reading some.
Yeah, you never think about it. You order brakes to sell for somebody that they got to probably be good and approved to be put on a car in America and stuff like that. I just learned that.
It's been such an enlightening process that gets me just as excited as my career, but knowing that I'm building something beyond that I can get my wife in on it, and she's a photographer, so she does all my media photos for the stuff and does editing and all that stuff. So, I'm trying to build something significantly bigger than just being good at what I do. Right? Being able to say, hey, how do I build something that, like they say, when a Monday feels like a Saturday?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And then I think since July till now, officially 12 sets been sold.
Okay.
Which is, Coca-Cola sold only, I think, 12 or 20 bottles of Coke in the first year they started. And now they've been doing this for 6 months. So I don't think I'm doing all that bad, but, 26 has a lot of good opportunities. Started doing events, being a vendor at most of the events.
Okay.
And just by doing one event, I learned a lot what it's like to be a vendor.
It's a lot of work.
And it's different, right? Because the shift culture, we're just running events. This is me promoting my business.
I see Dave and them guys, like, I go and as a consumer or a spectator or someone that's there to enjoy my time there, and then like we go there and they're setting up tents and unloading trailers, and I'm like, hey, I'm leaving. And he's like, I wish I could leave. Like, you're stuck there for the whole shebang. So
it's hard work and
not stuck, but obviously you're investing in yourself through So you got wheels. What else you guys offer?
Brakes.
Okay.
Suspension components, so coilovers, control arms, exhaust, and just did the very first set of downpipes for somebody here locally. Not really working through those moments just yet. I'm kind of being very cognizant of what in demand is right now, and I'm trying to finalized a couple of carbon fiber manufacturers
Okay.
for external performance aero kits.
Okay.
So I'm trying to stay in the bolt-on scene.
Yeah.
And obviously bring a lot of customization. Brought up Crash earlier, right? So him and I working together. So
I haven't met Crash yet. I was gonna get some stuff done.
well, he saw Adam's wing, right? So
Yeah.
Crash
Yep,
did that
yep.
work. So the shop is down in tradition off Tom Mackey.
Yeah, I built it. We built it.
Yeah. We knew that you guys poured that concrete there.
You know, the
yeah.
sidewalks and
Yeah, so he's in that building. So that's kind of where we're positioning at. So anytime you want to do some custom work on wheels and vinyl involvement, he's kind of the guy go-to. And Crash is one of those people who is OCD as all can be. So I know that he will work through the night, which is not healthy, but I keep telling him it's not healthy, but that's just how he is. If he doesn't like it, he's not stop until it's done, right? So, I'm trying to obviously move as fast as I can, but at the same time, speed and quality doesn't always go hand in hand.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand that I also got to be not put myself in a rat race again, that now that I'm building a business, I'm being pulled away from the family, right?
100%.
So I'm trying to really space out the events. I really want to get the big events that have the bigger showing and bigger following, the larger attendance, to go network with the right people rather than just going to every
You're
little
gonna do
event.
Fuel Fest.
So I'm going to be vendor at Fuel Fest. I'm going to be a vendor at Clean Culture. So Nick and I are talking. I'm going to be a vendor at the Eurotripper, which is across the state. I go every year. It's in the Red Sox Stadium. Huge turnout for
And obviously shift culture too, right?
So we're talking about vendors there. So I'm trying to balance healthy presence in the car scene, but again, also be at home, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's a difficult balance because you get
it's
so
a
much
difficult
social
balance
media.
if it's you. And
Correct.
that's obviously you got to get it to a point where it's, for me, like Adam told me a long time ago, was that you got to get off that bulldozer if you ever want to see this thing grow. And as soon as I took that advice is when we started, you got to get somebody to take your place, so to speak. And
so I have some irons in the fire with that. I think if a couple of deals that I'm working on now will come through. My goal isn't exclusive one-off wheels. I want to get into distribution. So I want to sell volume.
Okay.
A couple of deals on the table that I'm hoping that's going to materialize in 26, right? And the moment that first deal comes through is exactly what we just talked about. I'm going to get myself a media person that I just want to be on forums all day long. And obviously we'll work on scripts and all this stuff that's needed to be talked through, how to respond, because not everybody's a car guy, right? Not everybody's a wheel guru. So, but being able to be, to your point, managing at a distance, right, and step in as needed, kind of apply the same principles I do at work today.
100%.
I think that will definitely be the year. And my wife has been a big person. I keep mentioning her a lot because she's my friend. She's my mentor, right?
For mentioning her.
And she came up to me the other day and she's like, "Hey, I read this thing about 2026. She believes in stars and all that stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And she read certain things, and I, for lack of better words, I want to say, it's not that I believe her more. I would say that I pay closer attention to what she says.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, I think a lot of things would come into Jesus and kind of where things are today might have not have happened if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
And I know I don't give her enough of that, maybe love and respect in person, which I'm working on. But I try to give her as much of those kudos in the rooms where she's not present, right?
Yeah.
Because she's my partner, she's my wife, she's the mother of my kids, right? So I want to make sure that everyone knows that she is such an integral part of my life.
Dude, you always talk about her with me, so you're definitely speaking about her in rooms that she's not in.
And those are things that are important to me. And when she says those things, I think I used to kind of like brush it off. I'm like, you and your stars and whatever. But she said, 26 is your year. And here's why.
Sir.
And I put that positive mindset in my head. You know what? 26 is my year.
That's right.
And I'm trying to imply that, what you put out is what you're going to get.
Let's speak it into existence.
Yep. And that's 26 is going to be that. And that's what I'm really hoping for. And again, she's right there with me, and people that I know are right there with me. And again, thank you for supporting the business, right? And looking forward to maybe do some deals for your wife.
Support everybody, man. I want to see everybody win, and I think that's an important trait or quality to have, is that, there's until you give me a reason not to respect you, I'm going to respect you and give you,
100%.
Everything. And even if you don't, guess what? I was forgiven for a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have been forgiven for. So why can't I forgive people? So that's the way I look at it. And you can't go through life, not being a cheerleader for everybody.
You have to be.
I think you receive more when you're able to, give.
And that's what Bible says, right? You will receive more than you give. And I'd say that's probably, I'm a living example of that, right? Like I can speak to that because I lived through it this year.
Yeah.
Last year. 25 was just that prime. I got the answer I was looking for, and probably in the most needed time.
Right on time.
When I needed it,
that's all God right there.
That train came when the train stopped right when I needed to be there, and I'm telling you, man, I've never had moons align in such a way that it gave me not just the perfect career, not just a time back on my family, but time to get back on myself, my health. I gave up a lot of drinking. I don't have alcohol anymore as a result. My wife talked through that as well and said, hey, listen, like, what's the point of drinking, right? So while I do enjoy beer here occasionally, I don't have any hard alcohol at home. We don't stock alcohol at home. We only have a couple of drinks when we go out. But that's also significantly changed.
That's powerful,
right?
Man.
So it's interesting how I think age plays into that as well, right? But you start seeing all the things that you didn't think as potential harm to you or something that you thought that might have been like, we'll talk.
Brushed it off before, but
whatever, yeah. And then you
it's
start
the maturity.
that,
It's not the age. It's the maturity.
However you want to go, but I think it's the levels. You graduate the levels, 100%. Right? And with all of those things come in mind, you start appreciating your blessings a lot more, and you start realizing that when you appreciate them, you have the next level unlocks, and it's like almost you being entrusted to carry more burden, but that burden is also a blessing.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't be more happy.
That's awesome.
How 25 has been. Looking forward to 26, and man, it's just been great meeting you, Adam. A lot of good people here in St. Lucie that we came here with nobody, right? We just packed our stuff and we moved from everybody. My wife's family's there.
I'm used to it, man. I'm born and raised here, so I'm used to meeting people.
We just showed up, man. We're the double immigrants.
Welcome.
Right? We're the double immigrants, man. We came to California, and now we came to Florida, and it's been nothing but great. It's going to year 5 this year, 5 years in PSL, and looking forward to just continue growing our roots here and watch our kids grow, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate sharing your story, being open and honest, and
yeah, man.
I think it was a great episode. I think everything got said that needed to be said, and it was truly, truly powerful. I forgot to pray in the beginning, so I'm going to go ahead and pray us out.
Yeah, let's do that.
And because obviously, Father God, Lord, I just want to thank you for the opportunity that Val and I were able to come together today, God. I just am thankful that we get to use this platform as to be a vessel for you, Lord, that we're able to spread hope, spread awareness, spread our faith, and our testimonies, God, that those testimonies are able to help and spread hope to others, God. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity once again, and we ask you continue to bless our families and our lives. I pray this in Jesus' mighty name.